We are live. Welcome to this Agent Intelligent episode. We're exploring everything AI agent in Web3. And I'm Francesco. I'm a part of Mother DAO. I'm also leading developer relation at Consensus. And today we're diving deep into the technology and the vision of Crystal. But most importantly, also speaking about ecosystem and AI agent leadership. So, Marwan, welcome. It's an honor to have you. You want to quickly introduce yourself?
Happy to be here. Thanks, Francisco, for hosting us, and thanks to Mada for organizing these. My name is Marouen, and I am kind of like a software engineer that turned sales guy, turned BD, and now I'm founder. So it's kind of like a circle. And I think that's kind of like the main cool thing because you can really participate in these kind of ideation and industry narratives, but then you understand the tech behind. So it's exciting on both ways. Taking the tech and making something happen with it. So for the last year plus, been working with my team on building Crystal. Crystal, we thought at the beginning actually is a platform to simplify app development. We wanted to build a tools for devs to select the different pieces when they're launching an app in the Web3 space. And we did a bit of work on that. And maybe mid last year to late last year, we saw the growth of AI agent frameworks. And the thing that hit us is that AI agents are actually a type of app UX. So most of the interactions that will happen usually, classically, it's a website or mobile app. Now we could see those interactions happening through an agent interface or AI interface. And so we focused on that part, and we took our platform and we made it actually a tool for builders and creators to also deploy AI agents. Um, the sweet thing about these AI agents is that we are looking at modularity at the agent framework layer as well. And so the agent is the core, but then the tools that you give it, we call them skills, is really the fun modular part. So we're seeing a lot of creativity where people are building agents with DeFi skills, building agents with social skills, building agents with maybe
Nice.
just research skills, etc. And we're just getting started. So happy to share more about that today.
Yeah, that's actually really good. I think we can diving a little bit on what you're doing with in the Crescent kind of like ecosystem, but also like you've been running a lot of like different live stream, different kind of like building side that you really know your stuff around also like frameworks, kind of like the let's say the trends around also like those builders. So let's actually start with the first one. So on the Crescent side, what were the problem that you were initially trying to solve with this kind of like agent
Mhm.
framework, and what's the state of the frameworks too,
Yeah.
right? Because you have the big picture, so it's super interesting to understand.
Yeah, we took it actually. One thing that I usually like to do is to try things that are in the
Hmm.
market. So I think I'm surprised usually by how many people are interested in Web3 and crypto, but they don't try. They don't use the apps in any ecosystem. So we went on a very deep research and still ongoing research over the last few months, where we looked at all of these apps, building AI agents, framework, etc., and then tested them out. I even actually, speaking of live streams, started a small series where I go in with a $10 in my wallet and 5 minutes in my clock, and I try a platform and see what can you do with that. So we saw
Nice.
a lot of actually approaches to the problem statement, which is okay, AI agents and how we use them in everyday life. And the best way actually that I could visualize it is if you take a look at like a map, and that is two axes, horizontal and vertical. So if you put on the kind of horizontal axis the capabilities that these agents have. So take on the right hand, like very complex capabilities. They can do, video streaming, AI generated model on YouTube, or be on a TV channel, whatever it is, or do complicated trading strategies. And on the left side of this graph, if you take a look at just a chatbot, basically it's like an agent that tweets, right? So that's one axis of differentiation. The other one, if you look at the vertical axis, the question that we came up with is like, okay, who is this for? So if you have a tool, is it for a normal user who never coded in their life? Is it for a vibe coder? Let's say that's like the middle ground, or is it for for a
Yeah.
deeply technical person? And this is what we saw in the space. And so I'll take a few examples that everybody knows. If you look at the ELIZA framework, it's probably on
Hmm.
the right bottom side. So it's actually very rich library of components, things that you can do with it. But the people who can build with it are just really core devs. Like you have to be familiar with exactly,
Specific.
yeah.
Yep.
Which limits access to so many people who are interested. Like, oh, ELIZA is cool. I can build so things. But no, you cannot build so things. Only sophisticated devs can do that. And then you see other frameworks, let's say virtuals. I think they're changing that a little bit, but at the beginning of their journey, surprisingly, they were more on the actually left top curve. So they were a tool for everybody to launch an agent token, really. But then when you come and say, all right, I want my agent to do something, like to manage a wallet or something like that, there was no way for you to do it. Like capability was very limited, right? And then they, of course, they have the game framework that now is getting a bit more used. So the game framework is a bit more sophisticated, but requires some development aspect. So we looked at the space. We tried different platforms. Some are actually dead by now. So it's such a short-lived cycle from the hype of late last year until now. And we thought the best area that we can achieve is really if we can give a framework that allows people to build advanced agents with capabilities, but also be as inclusive as possible, which means like even if you're not dev, you can do that. And that's pretty much what we're focusing our work on. We launched an early version of this platform called Nation, nation.fun if you want to visit it. And we're building in the open, so we're releasing new features as we go. But the goal is that if you go there, even if you're not dev, you can easily understand how agents are working. You can build your own agent, you can customize your own agent without the coding required. But also, like, once you deploy it, will be robust enough that you can run real business on it rather than just a vibe coded agent that might break after a week or two.
I agree. I agree. Like there is a cool meme saying, what was that? Vibe coding versus vibe debugging, where debugging is probably taking 95% of the
The,
time.
the vibe coding
Uh,
is good vibe, the vibe debugging is bad vibe. So it's,
Oof, definitely that vibe, yes. Yes, but then like it's very cool because you saw also like the pain points from developers since the start, and it's also like having something like Crystal is also helping distribution of your agent. So there is a lot of like interesting things. Do you think those pain points are kind of like gone now? Thinking about those
to
frameworks?
be honest, no, because there is a like the open source movement is good. So there was a lot of actually frameworks that are built in the open source and then committing and contributors go and add this particular tool or that particular tool, which is good at the beginning. But then I guarantee that if you go and check it out today, most of those tools are not working anymore. Like for example, I'm not going to name, but there was one framework open source that we played around with, and then they had a nice, I think, DeFi Llama integration, so you can get like the yield, etc. Um, when today you install it and you want to run it, that kind of DeFi Llama extension is outdated. Like the API is not modern anymore, it's just deprecated because whoever built it is not maintaining it. And so that's one thing that we want to fix in our nation vision. And the way we think actually we're able to fix it is that we have launched this builder program for our open source framework to say, all right, contribute an extension to the open source, and you will get like a token portion allocation from our total token supply when we release it. But then we are creating a monetization model if your tool is used on the platform. Every time it's used, it collects a small fee, like
Hmm.
a gas fee essentially from the agent or from the user. And you as a maintainer of that
Okay.
extension, you get that royalty back. And so there is incentive for you to have like a quality
Mm,
integration. There could be, for example, 10 DeFi Llama integrations, but then the
mhm,
creators on the platform prefer this one because it has good reviews, it has good comments, it has good stability, and they're willing to pay, I don't know, 0.01 cents per call for it. And you as a dev maintaining that every time that's gets paid, you get paid
mhm.
in return as well. So getting
Nice.
that like
I think
economy,
it's
and this
good.
is one of the things that I saw in your talks, which is like, okay, what can crypto enable that Web 2 cannot do? It's this. Really, this is what we can do compared to like a Web 2 company building a similar framework than ours. We can have straight on-chain payment redistribution from the top of the funnel, which is the user, to the
Mhm,
actual contributors at the bottom. And we can have this on-chain. Like, all right, there was $1 paid to the agent to do particular task, and that task involved 5 components. Each component is maintained by a person. We can real-time redistribute that payment to each one of those 5 contributors.
yes,
And this is like the
that's
crypto rails that are possible to use.
I mean, this is also the best part on the agent side because this is why I see, especially in this cycle, probably the smart and kind of like the top brains coming in this space from Web 2 are AI agent builders, but they're coming not because like, it's a great ecosystem, but also because like building AI agent on Web 3 rails, like the nature of Web 3 fully on chain, kind of like transparency in the data feeds are everywhere 24/7 is something also that get a lot of like new instruments out. And this is also like why we kind of like we kind of thought about kind of like the concept around Mother, like almost a year ago, that was saying we don't want to kind of revive what DeFi Summer was, forking dexes everywhere. And the idea was basically saying, okay, let's build social graphs for agents, because there will come in the future where even like humans will start deploying capital to those agents, and we don't know right now what if it's a fork of a fork, especially like if you're on the agent consumer side, we need kind of like this social graph, or kind of like a full, can I say, open association for this agent to understand which one actually provide the most value. I wanted to ask you, what is your thought about agent to agent coordination? Is it too early to speak about? Because there is no kind of framework or specs right now. Yeah.
So we have been actually quite open to collaboration with other agents that provide value at Crystal. I think one of the early integrations we've done was with Acolyte, which is an
Hmm.
agent framework, I think an agent built on ELISA with its token deployed on virtual. And it had essentially a way for providing some research, deep research on certain AI tokens. And so we actually considered that agent just like an interface. And then we were able to have our agents now, there is a particular skill in our library that you can activate. And now your agent for specific queries, for specific data gathering, can just send a message to Acolyte agent,
Hmm.
get the information from it, pay that transaction fee, and then use that information to maybe display it back to you on the framework. So we
Hmm.
did that integration. It was like, okay, we didn't need actually a commerce protocol. It's a bit of sophistication at this stage. And then we did another integration with another agent framework, which is Allora. So Allora has a collective intelligence blockchain that provides certain functionality. So you can do an inference and send a query and say,
Nice.
hey, what do you think the price of BTC is going to be in 8 hours? And then all the agents on their network will congregate and will give you back different confidence level, different answers. So that also from our agent's point of view is just an interface to another ecosystem, and we call that. And we're doing 2 more or 3 more of these kind of one. We're talking to teams like the Ray team, which they have like specific agents. They do deep research on kind of like market macro themes and whatnot. This is also like an integration where it can be done either as a API call in a way, or as an LLM integration. So we call the full LLM, or we use that LLM to actually provide that service.
Yes. Yes.
These are the early ventures we did, but then also like we keep an eye on what Virtuals has announced, which is the ACP, Agent Commerce
Hmm.
Protocol.
Hmm.
I think it makes sense within their own nation, right?
Yes.
With their own
Yes.
ecosystem, which within our own nation, we are building a system similar to that. Now, whether we give it a name and make it a big thing, to me, it doesn't deserve that. It's just a communication protocol, underlying communication protocol. For you, the user, it should not matter. If your agent has something to get from another agent, should be able to call it, pay that fee, and then get the value back. Um, but yeah, so again, for now, I think within a same framework, interoperability should be built at the framework level.
Hmm. Hmm.
Inter frameworks, like between this framework and that framework, we have the tools. Like you can use either an API call or an MCP
Hmm.
now, or you can do like an LLM integration into your tool. Um, and because all of them are probably using crypto wallets, all these agents have crypto wallets. The commerce is just the transfer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you will probably want to also build the standards, or I saw what was that IP that came out with these specs, but that was specific on the, let's say, programmable IPs. But I think like something is definitely like needed for agent to agent collaboration. But I think also it will be the role also of those probably like public registration registry that we can specify that. But it's super sandy. But let's dive a little bit on Crystal side. I know like you're super passionate about sharing screen, showing things. I kind of like someone told me some alphas here that you ship this white paper in the past like day or something, and perfect timing to do this live stream, right?
Yeah, no, it couldn't be any better time. We actually have been sitting on it for a bit, and we were thinking maybe now is the time to share it
Hmm.
because it does detail the full vision of our protocol.
Nice.
Um, I'm not sure if my screen is viewable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Cool. So you can find this paper on my profile. And a couple of things, like, so the platform we are building, it's called Nation. And essentially with Nation, we are targeting a very, I think, powerful use for where agents can be. So the idea is that over the last couple of years, platforms like Shopify has allowed small businesses and whatnot to create e-commerce websites. So if you have something, you probably need a website, booking, payments, etc. And that was fine for a while, but these now, if you look back, those websites are a bit static. Like they don't evolve as a business. You're focusing on your core business. You don't have time to adapt the services you're offering. So we see a big opportunity with AI agents to be these storefronts. And so if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a creator, if you have a particular service, even like in the gig economy, you have skills that you want to provide to other people, nothing better than having an AI agents being a shopkeeper, essentially. And that's really what we want to build with Nation. So it's a collective of these agents that are fairly easy to launch, right? Compared to a full like custom app, like to launching a full e-commerce website. But then also very customizable. If you have modular frameworks like, again, IntentKit or Liza and whatnot, you can really add any customization that you want, which typically those templates, if you are a business just creating a template website, you cannot customize that. And if you go into,
Hmm.
customize it with coding, good luck, because you're not a coder. So
Yeah.
this is the opportunity that we see, which is, all right, I am an entrepreneur, or I am a service provider,
Hmm.
or I have whatever, I'm like a person that has a particular skill and I want to sell. Can I create an agent that will be able to provide that service, get paid for it, manage the payments, adapt to the customer queries, learn from that,
Yes.
improve the service as you go. So
Very
that's really
cool.
what we
Question.
going after. Yeah, go
Question,
ahead.
Marion, is the templates based also on a specific programming language? Is like what is kind of like the theory? Because if, for example, a lot of like let's say Web2 developer coming for building agents or Web3 Rails are often like Python hardcore people, right? And
Hmm.
if you wanna kind of like push templates, I think like you also wanna have specific templates battle
Hmm.
tested that people wanna use. So
Hmm.
how you're kind of like, what's your thinking around those templates?
Hmm. Yeah, there is two layers to this, and if I think about it, there is actually kind of um, sorry to show this first, but there is the intent kit layer. So this is the
This is good.
framework that we have built. The framework that we have built, this is Python. So technically, it's open source. You can take it, you can run it on your own, decentralized servers or whatnot. It will allow you to have the execution engine, how to interact with the agent, whether that's through prompt or tasks or events. And it has libraries of specific skills. So it can
Mhm.
have on-chain skills, so controlling a wallet and doing things on blockchain. Content gathering, which is like fetching data, fetching resources from different places, Web 2 and Web 3. Also generation, so like if you get generating, whether that's video content or reports or graphs or charts or codes, you can get that as well. The LLM piece is very modular, so using LangGraph, you'll be able to integrate to any kind of LangGraph compatible tooling, LLM, manage memories, etc. And lastly is the entry point, whereby, okay, how do you want this agent to interact? And so we've seen demand for agents to be on Twitter, demands for agents to be on a website, to be in a terminal, to be on a Telegram, to be on Slack, email, etc. And so the ability to customize this. So if you are somewhat a Web2 developer, even Web3 developer who's comfortable with Python, you can take this and go and get crazy with it. But what we are
Mhm.
targeting with Nation is actually people who might not be coders. And so this is
Mhm.
where we have identified roughly two types or two levels of users. There is creators, and creators are people who have ideas and have some sort of logical thinking. It's like, all right, this is my service, this is the type of customers, this is the queries I should do, this is the sources I should gather from, this is response, this is charging. So these are designers in a way. Users are people who are less bothered with designing and creativity, and they just want to access a service or access a
Mhm.
pre-designed template. And so that's where we are looking at two levels of interaction. And so if you're somebody with an idea, you can come, and I'll show you later on the glimpse of our UI, without coding, without the Python piece, without the intent kit complication, design an agent. So you can assemble an agent together.
Nice. Nice.
Now you can use it privately for yourself, or you can publish it to a store. You publish it to kind of like the Nation app store. Now, what's publishing on the store, we see mainly two types. Either actually the agent is kind of storefront, so you are a creator who has a particular service or knowledge or whatnot, and you want to sell it. So people come and interact with it, they pay it a fee, and you make money. or you make it as an installable template. And so I'll take an example. I think I can design the best DCA agent. This agent will have a bucket of assets and it will be able to go and buy them
Hmm.
at the right time of the day, every single day. It's not too complicated to build, but I think I know how to do it better than most people. So I'll design that agent.
Hmm.
I'll put it on the public store so people can see it acting. They can watch me, for
Hmm.
example, running a
Yeah.
portfolio of $100, $200, $1,000 with it. They see the results. They're looking good. What they want to do, they want to have a copy of it for themselves. So they click a button and get that template installed for themselves as a personal DCA assistant. And they don't have to code it. They don't have to build it. That creator did the job to do that. And they will be able to continue using it and benefiting from it. So that's actually a big possibility that we see whereby you can create templates. And these templates, again, they are not code templates. They are just a design template.
This is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, and the fact that you're not locking in the user that can actually take the template and maybe customize if they want to be a little bit deeper. But I really like also the vibe coding kind of like side also. I think that's super important because I think people, especially in that area, people will care more about the distribution factor, and they will have basically be build their agent, let's say their MVP agent
Mm.
faster than ever. Plus, if you provide in those templates, it's also like easier.
Yeah, one thing that we've been actually, our community has been asking is like, hey, why did you not build these custom popular agents? What is your Luna, right? What is your AI XPT?
Mm,
Which often, to be honest, they get measured based on their token value, not so much about the features.
mhm.
If I ask 100% of the people, what are the features of AI XPT? Very few people know what are the features, but if I tell them what's the price
True.
action, they will know it, right? And so that's really the thing that we didn't do so much yet because we've been spending a lot of time on building the framework underneath, which this kind of
Yeah.
relationship, this kind of like store. How do you create an agent? The full architecture is I'm very impressed with the team's work. Like it's a proper system. This is not like a small weekend project. And then also the monetization paths. Like, for example, if
Nice.
you are a dev maintaining a particular skill for trading or for news fetching and whatnot, how do you get a share of the revenue
Hmm.
that the users are paying through the agents? So all of this for us is a true platform play rather than just like a gimmick, meme agent in a way.
This is nice. This is nice. So you want to show us the platform, or it's too early, or what?
No, no, happy to share a glimpse, but let me make sure that I'm
Oh
connected.
yes, please, please. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's the most important. And I think that's. I mean, I really like. We definitely need to send over this link on the paper. It's also like clear. I really like when also like people are bringing up like these diagram flows because it's also showing that there is a thinking behind yeah, behind this, right? And it's super useful. And the fact that you're also like showing and giving templates, I think you can play a lot with templates around verticals. People will start to do like DeFi agent specific, social agent specific. I don't know any vertical that you see more kind of like trending, or any gaps that you see, hey, people should do more of those
Yeah,
agents.
we didn't want to take an executive decision on that, and so the approach that we managed to do is that we released our product as it's ready. So whenever a feature is ready, even when the agents at first were kind of like a template, you deploy them, you cannot customize them much. We opened up to members of our community and say, okay, go ahead and build, like design an agent, and then in the agent they can describe it, what it does, and so on. And so from that, we collected a lot of data, and we've seen that the general public interest is not necessarily what you hear on the Twitter. It's like very few, I think on our initial like 100 creators, very few went for a DeFi type agent. Many had real life use cases. Some created a nutrition advisor, comes with like health plans. Some created like
Nice.
homework tutoring. Some created like specific educators on segments like movies, cinema recommendation. Some created like small business idea right through the agent. And I was like, okay, well, some created games, of course, some created gambling agents. So all of the cases were there, and I would say that they were in surprisingly even distribution. I expected 90% would be like, oh, DeFi. Actually, not that much. It was a bit of everything.
Mm. This is nice. Yeah, that's really good. And on the architecture side, do you see there are still gaps that need to be kind of like filled? Like, I really like the template side, but I'm also like asking more on, do you think we have the infra to actually like run big size
Mm.
agents? they're going
Yeah.
much more not just an XBT kind of on socials, but truly like DeFi specific agent. Yeah.
There is areas that are still a bit immature, and maybe they are not needed to be mature. So I'll start with the easy ones. The easy ones actually fully decentralized models. It's nice to
Hmm.
talk about them, but it's really not needed at this point. Like, very few people are asking is like, oh, if my agent, I want to take it out and run it somewhere. Technically you can, but how easy it is, it's not that. There is a lot of people who talk about TEs and can my agent run in a secure environment, etc. But very few are willing to pay the cost. Like to run a dedicated TE for an agent, that's $500 per month. Are you willing really to pay just 500 on overhead costs? Like how much assets is your agent trading for you? Like if it's trading millions of dollars, then yes, maybe. But if it's a personal assistant managing your, I don't know, $10,000 portfolio, you don't want to be burning $500 cash on just TE for that. So all of these aspects, usually what you do, you have answers and roadmaps for them, but then you wouldn't slow down the distribution layer or the accessibility layer to go and work on those pieces right away. We've seen like the LLM models. Right now, most of the agents on our
Hmm.
platform are using ChatGPT centralized API, but then we did
Yes.
integrate with other decentralized ones. And to be honest, it's just too slow. Like, the
Hmm.
timeout to send an inference to the network and get back, it took like 90 seconds. The user is not gonna wait 90
Much,
seconds, right? And so
of
these are
course.
things that are aware of, but solving them is not trivial, or maybe not as urgent. The ones that are a bit tricky is really kind of this aspect of wallets and controlling the
Hmm.
assets. Now, this is a
Hmm.
tricky thing. It's like, okay, these agents have a wallet. Who has access to the private key? Can the agent have, okay, the agent has access to the private key, of course, but can the owner, creator of the agent has access to the private key? What does that mean? So I was struggling with this particular use case the other day. We have a feature for me to activate specific functions on the wallet for my agent. Sorry, my camera stopped. I'm not sure why.
Oh yeah, I think is maybe the stream. Try to maybe disable it and enable it.
Okay. Otherwise, I'm happy to spare you my face, but also, but also
All
I can
good.
refresh the.
Yeah, try to refresh. Try to refresh. Normally it's working. You just go out for a
All right.
second. I'm coming back. Coming back. Are you back? Oh no,
I'm back.
it's still
I'm back, but
camera.
without the camera. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Sorry,
All
sorry
good.
about
It's all good.
that. So what I was saying is essentially the kind of design choices that we can do on the wallet. And so I was struggling with this
Mhm.
particular feature the other day, which is where his face. So looking at the comments. So the feature is that okay, we can activate agent wallet transfer. So essentially, you can tell the agent
Mhm.
transfer $10 out of your wallet to this address, and we can
Mhm.
control who can say that. So only the agent owner or everybody else. Now, obviously, opening that feature to everybody else who chats to the agent is kind of not ideal. Anybody can tell your agents to send the funds out. But then also, if you allow the owner of the agent to give that command, what does it mean to people who are invested in that agent? That means that the owner can rug, right? So it's an investment
Of
agent.
course.
People put in money,
Yeah.
and then so like small things like this, even on the design side, are very sophisticated to deal with. Now, let alone actually a bit more advanced cases. I saw a paper today from Sentient AGI about how you can do
Mhm.
context prompt attack on ELIZA framework and get it to do something not by design. So it can get very tricky, and that's where I think we are still very early. Like these problems are serious problems that have to be
Yes.
fixed first.
Yeah, but it's good what you're saying also. Like it's funny because I'm hearing a lot of convo around a lot of like yeah around decentralized AI. It's not ready, and then you see a bunch of like decentralized AI companies running models on a centralized server. Like, it's very interesting to see what is happening. I understand we're going in the right direction, right? But obviously, like, users cannot wait for a 90-second output or something like that that you're mentioning here. Yeah, very, very tricky.
Um, I'm bummed that my face is not showing, but I think it's generally something happening with my laptop. Do you want to take a look maybe with we talked about the no code, like no code design of the agent.
Yes,
We can take a
please.
look at that,
Yeah.
and hopefully the screen sharing
Yes,
will work.
yes.
I'm super
Yeah, yeah,
excited
exactly.
about this one because we are planning to. Uh, is the screen showing, by the way?
Not yet, not yet. Try to share again. Let's see if it's working.
Unable to
Always like live streaming,
un-
debugging.
dude,
Is unable
unable
to
to share.
share?
Let me, yeah, give me a second, please. Let me restart the Chrome and I'll be back. Just a second.
Yes, yes. Don't worry, Amir. In the meantime, actually, I can show what Marouen and the team are basically like building. So it's this kind of like crystal. So basically, what they're doing is an A-power tooling. So what you're able to do is building agents for kind of like vibe coders. They are much more specific um, to pre-configured templatized agent. And be basically like asking Marouen on specific things. They pushed their white paper actually yesterday. That's why we timed quite well, and I think yeah, it's actually quite straightforward. What I really like also, they push like this test nets, these guides around how to build agents, and also like all the initial setups. So I think that's actually quite cool what they're showing here, and yeah, I think. I remember I tested this out a couple of like months ago. They had also different creation and customization on the agent setup, but this is specifically on Crystal, right? And the cool thing is that what it was showing before was having actually the um, I think we can actually like take this one here. Um, but basically, like with Nation, you have this library of different agents, and what you can do is customize directly the agent in the Nation. So you actually go and you push the name, you push the kind of like the token ticker, but and this is working with specific kind of like templates, and that's why it was actually super interesting. And you can customize directly also for no coder and give specific like instrument. I think this is definitely like working for basic agent, but it's super interesting for actually like people that don't code, and is automatically pushing the chat directly. So actually, this is quite good. And Marwan, I'm just showing your video on the video on the video. So I'm showing the face and walking also people through the docs. But I know that probably you're updating something based on the white paper next. But I was running people was on the intent kit overview. Um, but yeah, I am happy that the face is back, and it's good. Let's show people and the world like how Nation kind of like works on that side.
Yep.
And if I'm missing anything, I think like the docs are also quite updated, right? Like running people to the internet.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you for a bit. Can you hear
Okay,
me? Yeah.
nice.
So we can.
No, no, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
we definitely actually have a lot of work to do around the docs and updating that. So there is the light paper is out. We have the tokenomic paper that is final touches. Probably that one has to be released a bit closer to the actual token launch. The docs for devs is also getting updated as we speak. I think most of them are up to date, but then there is probably a few things that we need to touch up. Then the other one is what else? App guides, I think right now we're building in a way to make them as intuitive as possible, but it's ideal to have like videos, short videos, like of different things, how you do it. But typically the goal is to have everything self-contained here. So
Yeah.
for instance, we're trying to be transparent about the documentation, as I mentioned. So that one you can track
Nice.
it here. Even actually the metrics. We just launched this June dashboard that updates every 24 hours. It looks essentially at the kind of weekly active users. It sees how many creators, how many agents are created. We have an interesting concept that we want to be tracking, which is the GDP of the nation. Right now, we still haven't these smart contract audits, so not a lot of money is running on the agent. But the goal is actually to measure the economic activity of how much money these agentic storefronts are making versus how much they are spending out to other ecosystems, perhaps to other providers. And having that GDP growing and showing strong growth is very similar to what you do in a normal country, right? This is kind of a
Yes.
network state vision enabled thanks to AI agents. And yeah, the last bit is obviously the UI itself. So we're focusing on let me see what some of the ones here examples that we built, and I'm going to update one of them just to show you that
I like the Dune dashboard, by the way, because it's give also clarity for people to say, okay, how is nation going?
we've seen
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of these frameworks that rode on the hype of the AI agent frameworks, and then what they did, they essentially launched a token, and then they promised, open source, they're going to build. It just never got delivered, and that was not the image that we wanted to give. We wanted to see like, okay, here's what we're building in the open. You can see the uptake, what people are doing, but then grow with us if you want to participate. So yeah, the transparency is one card you're trying to play as much as possible.
Nice.
Speaking of that, actually, so when I mentioned a lot of things about the no code need to require to build an agent, so this is really the UI and UX that we are working on a lot, which is essentially you coming with your business idea, whether again you're building like a public storefront or you're building a personal assistant. These are the two paths that we see. You can start with a personal assistant and then turn that into a template later, so people can take it and then you can monetize. We've seen from our community a lot of types of agents. So it's not only DeFi or investing. There is a lot of things about wellness, health, art, design, social media moderation, etc. And so we've seen a lot of these kind of type of agents. We're testing a few frameworks from an LLM perspective. As I mentioned, most of the agents work very well on the GPT model. If you're looking for a low cost, probably the GPT mini, it has some limitations, some hallucination.
Mhm.
GPT-4o is a better, but a bit more expensive. We're playing with the Grok 2, 3, 4, so those will activate soon. The
Mhm.
DeepSeek as well has its own benefit. We have integrated Eternal AI team, this is fully on-chain model, like all the inference happen on the blockchain. It's a bit slow, but it works fully decentralized, which is good. Then you have actually the full kind of prompt engineering, customization of the personality of the agent. I imagine actually pretty soon we'll have more details on each one of these with linking directly to the documentation to explain to you what does it mean, even if you're not a coder. We're working a lot on the what we call them entry points, which is communication channels. We
Mhm.
believe that the
Yep.
agents, okay, you can come and build like a nice interface where agents can chat from here and people can interact with them from here, but maybe you want to distribute different ways. So this is the different ways. We are enabling like
Nice.
Twitter, Slack, Telegram, Discord. We're talking to a few projects that are building actually games, and the game is an interface. So you can
Oh,
build an
nice.
agent to plug into that game as an interface. And for you to activate it, it's really as simple as a click of a button and maybe some API keys. Then this is really the core of it, which is the skill library. So any skills that we add, whether they are on-chain related or social or maybe data collection or finance or whatever it is, all of them you'll find them here and you'll be able to activate them. So we spoke about integration with another agent like Accolade. It's really a
Mhm.
tick. Like, okay, I want my agent to be able to talk to Accolade. um, there is one function from Accolade that gives me, Twitter engagements, gives me metrics of other AI Asia tokens, the trading volume, the DEX volume. And what I can do is like, okay, I don't want this in my agent, or I wanted a skill open to anybody who chats with my agent, or I
Mhm.
wanted a skill open to me, the owner of the agent only. Right. So you can
Mm.
really go
Mhm.
granular customization of that. I don't want to bore you with like even other ones which has like dozens of functions,
I
right?
love this. Question, are those function being built, those function integration are being built by you guys, or is also possible to have some kind of permissionless kind of like innovation model where people can actually build skills that the new agent can integrate? That would be
Yeah,
very
no,
cool.
it's definitely it's a mix. So we have like the I'm gonna shill this one, yeah, builder program.
Mhm.
So we want it to
Yep.
be permissionless, and we even intent kit builder program, and we even actually willing to pay you for it. So the
Nice.
idea is that there you go. So this is the kind of the gist of it. The idea is that you are welcome to, as a dev, contribute
Nice.
to intent kit by adding a skill. If the skill is merged as a PR into intent kit, and we should be merging it, there is no objection to why not, then it will show up here, right?
Mhm.
And later on, we'll have like a full page dedicated to all the skills, so you can go through reviews and see people's feedback on the skills, how much they are being used, etc., etc., etc. But for now, build a skill contributed. You access a pool of the nation's token. We have 1% of the total supply dedicated to the skill builders, and then you have the ongoing royalties, which means every time my agent. So assume you have built this acolyte one, right? And we put it onto the framework. Then every time an agent calls this skill, that
Mhm.
agent will pay a small fee, and you, the maintainer of this skill, will get a percentage of that fee. So
Mm.
that's really the thing. And it's still developer tooling. They still need to be a dev to build the skill, and unfortunately for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am talking to the team about some ways of allowing people to vibe code a skill. So yeah,
That would be
people
cool.
was like,
Yeah.
I see a website and I just want to integrate to that website. How can I add that skill so I can use it for my agents? But yeah, this is the idea. So configuration, the LLM, the interfaces, the skills, and autonomous
Nice.
behavior. So you can put some sort of like event based or
There is a lot of flexibility here.
yeah, this
Also,
is
like on.
yeah, this is not launched yet. So hopefully this week we're doing the final tests for this specific UI. Once it's
Yeah.
launched, it will be on our main app, and then you can go and try it out. We would love then to see what people are building, because to be completely honest, like right now there is 190 agent public. There is more that are private. Most of them have the same set of basic skills. Like they have 5 or 6 skills that are activated, and that's what people are limited with. But then the moment we create that new interface, then they will be able to really go crazy and innovate. So here you see like some of the skills that are working is just Pith integration, Twitter integration, being able to post. I think there is some that are Allura integration, the wallet integration to do trading and swapping. So these are for me limited skills that are live currently on our nation.fun. But then hopefully this week everybody will get access to that UI that I showed, and your
Mhm.
agent will have really much more flexibility. And would love to see what people are creating at that point.
Nice, nice. What is your kind of like um, metrics to define your agent is kind of like
Mm.
successful? Like, do you see? Yeah, because I don't know if TVL of an agent would be
As a
something.
business
Yeah,
or as a creator, because those are two.
I think as a yeah, I think it's like as the agent
Okay.
builder. Because like we need to define also success, what I mean, like a meaningful agent providing value to
Mhm.
people, right? So I'm also asking myself what metrics are out there that we
Mm,
should
mm.
consider.
There is, depending on the type of the agent, we see a few metrics, and we kind of like started putting some of those on the dashboard so you can see them. Some people are just for now in an early stage of a project of their agent, they're just looking for mind share. And so mind share is a key
Hmm.
metric, which is like how many people are aware of my agent, they interact with it, and they go to it. I would say that's an important metric for the first month
Yes.
or so of you launching your agent. Then after that, you are looking at the usability of your agent, how useful your agent is. And so that's really another metric. To me, I measure it by the skills that it has. Like, so for example, I activated 10 skills in there. When people interact with it, is it efficiently using those 10 skills to give them what they need? They come and ask about the market insight.
Mm.
Did it successfully call Twitter to gather sentiment? Did it call DeFi Llama to get volumes? Did it call da 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 to get this and that and provide that? So that's kind of like the user satisfaction. Then soon enough, what you can do is that you can start charging for these interactions. So me as a
Hmm.
creator,
Yep.
I can let my agent interface to be free at first, but then after that I'll switch it on. I was like, you know what, I have my agent can do 3 or 4 things for you, and each one of them will cost you $5 or $10. So once you switch on the charge,
Yeah.
your metric is your agent making you money, and is the agent actually making you money versus costing you? Because there's always cost to things, right? So the agent
Of course.
running
Yes. Yes. Yes.
running on the nation platform is paying some infra fees with every execution, but also costing you your time, your opportunity cost. So is it worth it? For me, if I can build an agent and it has useful services, people are aware of it, and even it's making me $100 in revenue per day, I mean, I'm happy. This is like literally a side autonomous business that I have created that I don't have to maintain.
Yes.
So yeah, hopefully those are the key metrics that people will be aware of, and the real creators will be monitoring. And our job is building
Nice.
all the tools for you to see that, right? So the skill log, you can see what skills are executed. There'll be like a cost dashboard, so you can see your revenue versus your expenditure. The mindshare dashboards will allow you to see are people aware of your agents. Potentially like rankings also within each category. What are the top 10 financial agents? What are
Yes.
the top 10 social agents? And see that. So creating that economy online is really the goal.
Nice. Nice. It's cool, actually cool to see some people in the comment. Like you guys has been cooking very hands-on on Gabby. There is a lot of like things happening. Okay, sounds good. So I think like we're almost on time. I think you dive deep into like different things. It's actually super interesting to see also like in your different perspective. I also agree on the framework side, and also like agree that we want to also welcome let's say vibe coder on the agent side. On this, like any kind of like lesson learned, because a lot of agent kind of builder are hearing us, any kind of lesson learned on the nation/Crystal building that you want to share during the path, like saying like, hey, if I need to go back, this is how I will do things, or some kind of like lesson learned that you want to share here, Gabby.
Yeah, I think there was the biggest lesson that we have is that there were some given in the AI agent narrative or industry that every product was building in that space assumed without questioning that those features are a must-have. But then the reality is that some of those features are very short-term plays. And so, for instance, like the bonding curve on the agent token, every platform was convenient. It's like, oh, okay, if people come to my platform, you launch the agent on my framework, you get the bonding curve, etc. But then if your agent is not a sustainable business model, you're essentially creating a meme coin on that. So we actually spend time, and we have like the full bonding curve. We have an interesting bonding curve mechanics whereby the agent token, some is sold on bonding curve, some is actually allocated to the creator on a vesting schedule. So the creator maintains the
Yep.
agent for a period of time to unlock their tokens. There is a pool for rewards for stakers of that agent token. So try to create a bit more sustainability. So we built that, and we're gonna send it out, like ship it essentially. And then we're like, wait a second, actually, if you don't have usefulness, if you don't have that fundamental piece of your agents is
Yeah.
generating revenue, all that people are going to come to your platform and do is just speculate and meme coin agents essentially on top.
Yes.
So a lot
Yes.
of those have been, I would say, distractions for a bit. Like, so we would spend like 1 week here or 2 weeks there, and then we look back, it's like, it's not the right time to do that particular feature, or that feature is only actually a short-term play that is good for marketing or is good for anything like that, but it will distract you from the main goal. That is the main one. And lastly, like that kind of resistance to not follow the trends. So if I see DeFi agents are the main thing, it's very easy to get distracted, drop everything else, and just focus on DeFi agents. But then realize that that's a specific skill. Like it's better to have a team that just a DeFi team managing one agent and not doing both. Like don't distract yourself with one agent building and building a framework at the same time. Those are two separate things. So that kind of focus
Oh,
is a
this
big
is good.
lesson learned. So a single agent is a type of project on its own. A platform that runs these single agents, multiple of these single agents, is a different type of
Yes.
project, and you have to choose your battle.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah. Yes, I agree. And also, like, you probably wanna, yeah, you wanna kind of take care, especially if you're building the platform on both sides, on the building side and also on the distribution side, because if not, it's some kind of like a chicken egg problem because you're getting a lot of agent builders super interested, but then like you cannot provide this distribution aspect. And I think this is also a tricky part. And you guys are doing also a lot of things also lower in the funnel on the distribution side.
We think that's actually the main differentiator. Like our business is not the crypto part, is not the AI part. It's in terms of like, why would people come to your platform? Like, what is the value that you're going to do? So they come to get services or they come to sell services. And that's really what it is. And to have like a service-based platform, you need both sides of the puzzle. You need the service providers and the service buyers. And so that is something we're trying to solve across the time. So I think that's what translates in our lingo, crypto lingo, to building community. I'm not building community just for the fun part of it. I'm building community so I can
Hmm.
understand what people's personas are like. All right, who are the service providers? What do they care about? Separate them from the service buyers. What do they want to buy? And get that early feedback. I think that's a lot of where our community work is happening right now. It's like, okay, we have a couple of thousands people, which is nice, but then who are they? How many of them are going to create meaningful things, and how many are willing to pay for those things? Um, yeah, that's really the core
Yes,
thing.
yes,
It's tough when you run your business like a real
yes.
business, not just a coin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes I'm telling people, hey, you need somehow some GTMs. You actually need to actually push some strategy doc. It's not like you're testing things. And but I think in that case, finding also the right problem market fit for like agent consumers will also be a big one, because obviously we want to build not just autonomous agent to agents, but also first the first phase is probably agent to humans, and actually having humans actually finding this is valuable, and then also you can provide agent services to other agents, but that's probably something that is coming like on a second kind of
I
time
think most
horizon.
companies and businesses right now are just looking for one question, which is like, how do I replace my humans or increase my humans' capacities with agents? And
Hmm.
so that's the one thing that you wanna serve, which is agents to businesses or agents to kind of like companies.
Hmm.
I have a neighbor here who's working advertising. Last thing I expected agents, but they are struggling internally to build an agent that
Hmm.
goes and gets what their competitors are using, like where are they putting the billboard, where are they putting the products, collect all of the photos on social media across multiple channel, make a daily report of like, all right, your competitor is now, people are liking where they're putting their product. You should probably go after that. And then the agent will come up with a brief of what should be the product marketing they should do. So the campaign, and for them as a company, this was a no-brainer because they had people doing this before. They had people actually scouring the internet and whatnot and getting this information, and it's never enough, and they don't make the right decision. And when they saw the agent narrative, they're like, this is the perfect use case for my agents. So these are the clients that we have to really serve today.
Yes.
Then we'll talk about agent to agent commerce.
Yeah, I really liked also like how practical you are on okay, we need to actually solve these specific problems. And I feel also like we definitely need more talks on that area, because right now we are building agents with just the sake, like trying to find kind of which vertical is working better. But definitely I see that the main two verticals right now being focused is on the DeFi side and on the social side, but there is also a lot of verticalized agents. Also, from what I'm hearing you is you also believe on verticalized agents versus kind of like super agents, right? Because I mean, you need to train agents no
No, for
matter
sure,
what.
for sure. I think
Yeah.
anything that you serious problem you start thinking about, you'll have to split it into individual pieces. So those are individual agents, and you become good at one particular thing, and then that can be used by
Yes.
somebody else. It's fine.
Yes. And then you need to kind of optimize. Okay, sounds good. I mean, Marwan, what's coming next? I mean, you kind of show Notion. You want to kind of like also show what you guys been cooking, and then we're good to
Yeah, so a
go.
couple of things for the next few weeks. We would love to release this skill configuration UI to all of our users sometime this week. So excited about what people will create, the questions, the bugs they will find, all of that. Happy to work on it. Then the next phase after that, we are going to build like the payment framework, whereby now you pay an agent so the agent can pay for its infrastructure, and having like a clear view on that payment flow using crypto rails, so people can start seeing,
Hmm.
okay, can I make money out of these things? How do I do it? Once we have that, we're going to spend a lot of time working on our monetary policy. And in crypto term, that means the token, because the token is really the kind of
Yes.
currency
That's,
of this nation that we
yep.
are building. And so it's a mean of payment, mean of paying taxes by the agent to the framework, mean of people investing in these agents. That's going to be a stressful piece. So yeah, that's what our next few weeks look like. More customization on the UI for the builders, a payment
Yes.
infrastructure so the economic model makes sense, and then once that's solid, inject a currency into it and see the world grow.
Nice. Nice. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, and helping also on the agent distribution, I think is also key. Okay, sounds good. I mean, Mara, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see also like to see how this builder program will look like. And we should definitely like push agent
Yeah, I
builders.
know you're
Yeah,
very
go ahead.
involved, Francesco, in these communities, and you've done a great job with your career in this space. Would love also any advice from kind of communities we can reach out to. We're talking to a few smaller communities,
Yes.
but the more they're aware of this one, it's only upside for them and for us. So yeah,
Yes, especially on the collab side with Modder, I think there is a lot of like synergies here, and we should definitely have a part two live stream here to also like show people the updates and what's happening next. Okay, in the meantime, thanks so much, Moran. Enjoy the humid Singapore, and yeah, and looking forward also to see you in some other events, hopefully like an ACC or even something
likewise,
earlier.
enjoy Bangkok. Not too much.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
All
Not too much,
right,
my
bye
time.
bye.
That was good. Thanks for bye bye.